Hi, my name is Luke Bonecutter, and this is a video testimonial for Mr. Kevin Garcia Hedinger. Uh, he is a quarterfinalist for the Grammys Educator of the Year Award for 2021. And making this video was really important to me because I'm just incredibly grateful for the impact that he's had on my musical career, my professional career, and just me as a person, and also my personality. So to give you an introduction, Mr. Garcia teaches at Brandeis High School, and I was part of the first graduating class at Brandeis. And when they opened that school, they took two schools from within our district that actually were rival schools and kind of mashed them together. The boundaries got flipped and everything moved and changed, so a bunch of teenagers were in less than ideal circumstances, and so many of us were not happy to hear this news because we'd have to leave like half of our friends group behind, and so it was not exactly a great beginning, to be honest. There was a lot of bitterness, there was a lot of resentment, I imagine, in the air. But that didn't make a difference because Mr. Garcia had a job to do. He was there to help us learn how to play music. And I feel like his leadership was just the perfect medicine for that scenario, for that situation, because he filled a void in our lives. We were looking for structure. We needed to be able to rely on something, someone. And I can honestly say that orchestra was really the only thing that I looked forward to during my junior year. So he always made it interesting. You know, he would try and keep our lessons very well rounded about music. He would talk about the context or the composer, or he would go into the math of the music and we would talk of numbers, or we would talk about theory. You know, he was actually the first teacher who introduced me to music theory in a very accessible way. And another small example of Mr. Garcia's amazing leadership is that he taught us all how to breathe on the upbeat. That's a very, very important part of playing together, and that's been ingrained in me. Like, I still breathe before I play, and I still teach my students to breathe before they play. So I'm just so grateful that I got the opportunity to learn from him, and that he's continuing to grow his program, and I think he's so worthy of this recognition. To give you another small example of our relationship, during standardized testing season, I got a huge bag of peppermints. I mean huge, probably about 500 peppermints. And I was handing them out literally like candy to people just so they could have, you know, a little bit of mental stimulation, a little bit of sweet, something to get them through the day. But I had a lot of peppermints left over. So after standardized testing, it was the tax test at the time, I didn't have anything to do with all these peppermints. And Mr. Garcia made the mistake of leaving his office unlocked and unattended. So I went into his office and I placed a bunch of peppermints all around. He's probably still finding them, to be honest. I mean, I put them in a lot of different places, and I had a lot of them. In the music library, in the file cabinets. I think I put some in his printer, other cabinets. Well, one of my favorite things about Mr. Garcia was that he was always very neutral. He was never angry or upset. He would be irked, but it was never incendiary or inflammatory. And that, I feel like, especially as a teenager, we need those kinds of examples. And I'm so grateful that we had one in him. He's so diligent about making sure that his students understand where he's coming from, and that he understands where his students are coming from. So even after 10 or 11 years, I still go back and think on the things that I've learned from Mr. Garcia, and I'm so grateful. Just the 2 years that we had together, I was able to soak up so much about his leadership style and about how he communicates and how he listens. And that's made a big difference on who I am. So I'm so grateful, and I think that you are incredibly deserving of this recognition, and I wish you nothing but the most success. Thank you so much again, Mr. Garcia, and I hope that this video helps. I sincerely wish that he wins this award. I think that his impact on me has made a huge difference, and I'm just one of many lives that he's touched.